In 2019, a quiet essay landed in the world of artificial intelligence. It was barely 2 pages long. It carried a title that sounded almost like a confession: The Bitterlesson. For 70 years, researchers had poured human knowledge into machines. Logic, language, intuition, expertise. Generation after generation believed that intelligence could be handcrafted. They were wrong, and the way they were wrong is the story of modern AI. There is a temptation every AI researcher feels: to build the machine the way we think. To pour our understanding into it, line by line. It feels noble. It feels like progress. It is, almost always, the wrong move. Chess was the first warning. For decades, masters tried to teach computers their craft: openings, positional theory, elegant heuristics. Then, in 1997, Deep Blue beat Kasparov. Not with wisdom, with search, with compute. Go was the second. 2,500 years of strategic philosophy, outplayed in hours by AlphaGo and then surpassed entirely by AlphaZero, a system that learned the game from nothing but self-play. No human games, no human intuition, just compute and learning. Speech recognition followed the same arc. Linguists had spent decades building phonetic models, hidden Markov chains, hand-tuned grammars. Deep learning swept them aside in a few short years. The lesson was the same. Computer vision fell next. 30 years of carefully engineered features, edges, corners, descriptors, replaced almost overnight by a single neural network trained on enough data and enough compute. The pattern was no longer a coincidence. Chess, Go, speech. Vision, 4 different domains, 4 different decades. The same outcome each time. General methods, scaled with compute, defeated specialized human-engineered systems. Not by a little, by a wide margin. Richard Sutton, one of the founders of reinforcement learning, looked at this pattern and named it. The biggest lesson, he wrote, is that general methods that leverage computation are ultimately the most effective. He pointed to 2 methods that scale endlessly with compute: search and learning. Everything else, every clever heuristic, every hand-tuned feature, every elegant theory, eventually plateaus. These 2 do not. Plot capability against compute on a logarithmic axis, and a single curve dominates. Methods that bake in human knowledge flatten out. Methods that scale with compute keep climbing. The curve does not seem to care what we think. The scaling laws made it explicit. Loss decreases predictably as you increase parameters, data, and compute. Not magically, mathematically. Scale stopped being a trick and became the lesson itself. And then came the language models. No hand-coded grammar, no parsed trees, no symbolic reasoning, just next token prediction at unimaginable scale, and somehow language, reasoning, and knowledge emerged. The lesson made flesh. Look at what we tried to build in. Expert systems, symbolic AI, ontologies, knowledge graphs, handcrafted features. Each was brilliant. Each was elegant. Each was eventually replaced by something simpler that simply scaled better. This is why the lesson is bitter. It is not that researchers were foolish. It is that the things they loved most, their insights, their theories, their craftsmanship, turned out to matter less than they hoped. The mistake is subtle. We confuse the complexity of our effort with the depth of progress. We build intricate machines because they feel like understanding. The universe, it seems, rewards what works. The general beats the specific, not because the specific is wrong, but because the specific is fragile. A general method, given more compute, keeps improving. A specific one hits its ceiling and waits. But the lesson is not free. Every step up this curve costs more. Larger clusters, longer training runs, gigawatts of power. The price of generality is paid in compute, and the bill rises every year. And yet, there are doubts. Data may run out, energy may cap, new bottlenecks may appear. Every era of AI believed it had found the ceiling. Every era was wrong. Whether this one is different remains genuinely open. The strangest part of the lesson is that it keeps repeating. Even now, with language models, we reach instinctively for handcrafted scaffolding, clever prompting, narrow tricks. And again, scale quietly outperforms them all. Walk into any AI lab today. Whiteboards full of clever ideas, prompt tricks, agent frameworks, and humming in the background, more compute. The lesson is being learned, painfully, in real time. The lesson does not erase the human role. It relocates it. We choose the objectives. We ask the questions. We decide what is worth building and what is true. The machine scales, we still steer. If the lesson continues to hold, if generality keeps winning, if compute keeps growing, then what we are building is larger than any of us yet understand. The horizon is not flat. It is rising. So return to the sentence itself. The biggest lesson that can be read from 70 years of AI research is that general methods that leverage computation are ultimately the most effective, and by a large margin.